Christine Pitawanich with your weekly recap. We'll be catching you up on some of the biggest stories of the week. That includes the latest developments in the deployment of National Guard troops to Portland, plus a troubled start for the Trailblazers after the FBI arrested head coach Chauncey Billups on federal charges, and why local leaders say they're having to pause the construction of a new Burnside Bridge. But our top story, after hearing 90 minutes of arguments, U.S. District Court Judge Karen Immergitt said she will not issue a ruling from the bench on Friday. This is regarding her second temporary restraining order blocking the deployment of National Guard troops from any state to Portland. She says she hopes to have a decision by Monday. The Trump administration is asking her to dismiss the order, while the state of Oregon and city of Portland argue it should stay in place. Meantime, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is considering whether a larger panel of judges should rehear the case. In a 2-1 vote on Monday, Ninth Circuit Court judges voted to overrule Judge Immergitt's first order, which blocked the feds from sending Oregon National Guard troops to Portland.
Right now, until the district court acts on the second temporary restraining order, National Guard members from Oregon, or from other states for that matter, cannot be deployed.
On Friday, a government attorney clarified President Trump's plan would involve about 200 Oregon National Guard troops and would not include troops from California or Texas. Now, at the center of all this, of course, is the ICE facility in South Portland. This week, our Kyle Laboshi went inside, something local media has not been allowed to do. ICE officials did not want to go on camera or be quoted, but say they're making changes to some operations after tension with communities. For instance, viewers have sent videos of confrontations with ICE agents outside schools. This week, ICE officials said they've told officers not to stage or meet up in school parking lots. They say generally they do not make arrests on school grounds. And protesters outside the facility have said regardless of court rulings, they intend to stand their ground. So how do we get to this point? Here's a recap. In June, violent demonstrations got President Trump's attention when protesters broke the glass on the ICE facility's doors and at least one federal officer was hurt. In September, President Trump ordered the deployment of the National Guard. If troops are deployed, that's a big if, they'd be trained in crowd control but could not make arrests.
There's really only so much fear that you can put in people before they just are numb to that. There's only so much tear gas you can give us before we're immune.
Then there was the Newsweek opinion piece where Mayor Keith Wilson described Portland's ICE facility as, quote, a disaster waiting to happen. He cited overflowing trash, faulty air conditioning, and overworked staff during a recent visit. Those conditions, he says, could lead to accidents, injuries, or even death. As of Friday, there's been no response from Homeland Security or Secretary Kristi Noem. The Trump administration's immigration enforcement policies has some families living in fear. The Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon says its food pantry is the busiest in the state, and it's seen a 25% drop in families coming to get food. As our Libby Dowsett found, if people don't feel safe going to the organization's food pantry, they say they'll make sure the food gets to families.
The staff at Ecumenical Ministries of Oregon says they're being proactive. If people don't feel comfortable coming here to pick up food, they'll bring the food to them. Boxes of fresh fruit, rice, bread, and meat rolling out to families in need.
We look at everyone who comes here as a human being who needs food.
Northeast Emergency Food Program Manager John Mackler takes us through Oregon's largest serving food pantry on Northeast 72nd Avenue in Portland.
Last week, we served 1,000 unique families.
We got potatoes.
Monday is the delivery day. All these donations from Trader Joe's going right back out the door.
As we meet people that need help, we'll bring them a box. They are very grateful. They're happy to see the food.
We have more food lately, which tells me that we have less customers coming, which is scary.
Scary because she knows there are families out there who are not getting enough to eat. And it's not just immigrant families nervous to show up, but also some of the pantry's Spanish-speaking volunteers.
There are people who are simply afraid of being in a public space like this. They feel vulnerable. even if they are here legally, if they have all of their papers. They're just afraid to be in a place because of the risk of detention and unknown consequences.
Staff says making sure people feel safe is number one.
So when someone is here, we hope that they feel safe. They are in a private area of our facility, of our service, and they are entitled to certain legal protections when they are here.
But also meeting clients where they are is a solution both staff and volunteers are willing to try.
It's really sad, and it's concerning. These are already people that needed help, and now they don't have access.
Our belief, I literally wear on my shirt, is to welcome the stranger, to feed the hungry. Without discrimination, we want everyone to feel the same dignity, the same humanity that we do.
The staff says they have seen a slight bump in the number of people coming through their doors in the past 3 weeks, but they say that coincides with the federal government making cuts to food assistance programs, and those people are probably coming in. Libby Dowsett, KGW News.
Our other big story of the week, the arrest and indictment of Trailblazers head coach Chauncey Billups related to an FBI probe into illegal gambling. He now faces federal conspiracy charges related to money laundering and wire fraud. On Thursday, he made his first appearance in federal court. He's accused of taking part in rigged poker games that investigators say used high-tech tools to dupe players out of money. There's also a second indictment where an unnamed coach who matches Bilips' bio is accused of tipping off sports gamblers. Experts we spoke with say since sports betting was legalized, it was only a matter of time before someone from a team was accused of getting involved.
Now we have this rise of a bet called a prop bet, and a prop bet is more of a side bet rather than who's going to win or lose. It might be who is going to have the first foul, or who's going to get a yellow card, or who might be under in terms of point totals, rebound totals, etc. And those can be fun, but they're also much more easy to manipulate if you're a player.
While he's currently out of custody, Bilips has surrendered his passport, posted what was called a substantial bond, and is now banned from gambling. And really the timing of all this couldn't be worse. Rip City just had its season opener the previous night, and they're up against the Golden State Warriors Friday night. But as Orlando Sanchez reports, the Portland Trailblazers must move forward.
Chauncey Billups, the Hall of Fame coach of the Blazers, now in his 5th season as the Trailblazers head man.
Just hours after tipping off a new season,
played good enough to win. We deserved to win that game.
One game into year 5 of the Chauncey Billups era, and the Portland Trailblazers are without their head coach.
I don't think we're going to see him coaching the Blazers ever again.
After being arrested by the FBI in connection with a gambling-related investigation, the NBA has placed Billups on immediate leave.
But I think that this is going to be a lingering, ongoing distraction for the organization.
The Portland Trailblazers releasing a statement saying, "We are aware of the allegations involving head coach Chauncey Billups, and the Trailblazers are fully cooperating with the investigation."
This is Groundhog Day. For like 25 years, this organization has punched fans in the gut after getting their hopes up. And here it comes again. Chauncey Billups arrested.
Tiago Splitter will take over interim head coach duties. He joined Bilips' coaching staff in June. Splitter has been an assistant coach in the NBA with stops in Brooklyn and Houston. Most recently was head coach of the Paris Basketball Club. Now tasked with putting the team back on track.
The sale of the team, breath of fresh air, all these young players, the return of Damian Lillard, all of that clouded by what Chauncey Billups has brought into the room here.
Orlando Sanchez, KGW Sports.
It's been more than 3 weeks now since the Oregon legislature passed Governor Tina Kotek's controversial transportation funding package, and she still has not signed it. The bill included tax hikes, which Republicans have opposed. Some experts argue there's strategy in why she hasn't signed the bill. One possible reason is because Republicans want to refer parts of the bill to the November 2026 ballot. Thing is, they have 90 days to collect the needed signatures after the bill is passed, and the clock started ticking October 2nd. The longer the governor waits to sign it, the less time they have.
I'll tell you what, she can delay this all she wants. We're still going to gather the signatures. We're still going to get this on the ballot. And Oregonians will remind Salem who really runs this state.
The governor has until November 12th to sign the bill, but regardless of when it's signed, ODOT won't get the money until January. We've also been keeping an eye on the growing nationwide impact of the government shutdown. Millions of Americans are about to lose out on their November SNAP benefits. In Oregon, SNAP helps more than 750,000 people afford groceries. We spoke to a soon-to-be mom of 5 who said she has a hard time stretching that money out over the entire month.
Shockingly, yeah. Especially because the kids, they grow and they have to constantly eat or snack.
The Sunshine Division, a local food bank, told KGW this week that they plan on extending hours over the next couple of weeks. They say the longer the government shutdown lasts, the more people they expect to see needing help. And we got an update this week on the construction of the brand new Burnside Bridge. County leaders say the project has been delayed indefinitely, and they worry the political climate and administration could play a role in the federal government not funding the project. Here's Devin Haskins with that story.
This project is absolutely a high priority for the county.
A high priority without a start date. The plan to build a new earthquake-ready Burnside Bridge in Portland has been delayed yet again.
It's difficult to have the project construction not happen on the timeline that we want it to happen, even though we don't have a definite construction timeline right now.
John Henriksen is Multnomah County's Transportation Division Director. The project has been delayed before. The 2027 start date was pushed back to 2028 earlier this year.
Every year that we wait brings us closer to the more likely that that event's going to happen and we won't have any bridges available to cross the river.
Money is a major factor in getting it done. Rising costs of material and labor have skyrocketed the total cost to as much as $1.8 billion.
One of the other things that we did is we also reduced the total number of operator houses.
The county was able to save about $160 million with new design options, but what's pushing back the construction date now is federal funding. With $740 million in funding secured, they would need close to $1 billion more to fully pay for it. A federal grant for close to $450 million is still under review.
We're actually an excellent candidate for the program as the guidelines have been laid out. I'm just not sure that they're funding in the state of Oregon at this time.
While waiting for the funding to be approved, the county says it's still moving forward with the design process.
If we don't find additional funding, we'll kind of pause for a bit and then continue to look for funding until we can restart the project with a full funding package.
Devin Haskins, KGW News.
The county says it hopes to hear back on the federal funding within the next few months. Whenever construction does start, it will begin with the demolition of the current bridge so the new one can be built in the same place. That means there won't be a Burnside crossing for at least 5 years. Well, construction on a brand new concert venue at the Lloyd Center is underway. The yet-to-be-named 2-story concert hall where the old Nordstrom used to be will seat between 2,000 and 4,000 people. And if all goes to plan, it should open in 2027.
And I don't think there's going to be a bad seat in this house, and that alone makes bands really confident that they're going to be able to put on a great show, and makes fans really confident they're going to buy tickets to a show that they're going to want to see.
This isn't the only mid-size venue coming to Portland. The city also has approved a building permit for a Live Nation venue on the Central East Side, not far from the Hawthorne Bridge. That one will seat between 1,200 and 3,500 people. And we are just now getting an idea of how many people used Oswego Lake this past summer, which was the first time that public access was allowed. From the end of May to mid-October, a park ranger stationed at the lake recorded nearly 3,200 visitors. About 2,100 people came to paddleboard, another 700 were kayakers, and about 250 went to the lake to fish. During that time, no accidents or injuries were reported, but the biggest rule violation was showing up without a life jacket. So the city installed a loaner station. Okay, check this out. Seaside Aquarium sent us photos of thousands of sea cucumbers washing up on the Oregon coast earlier this week. The aquarium says heavy seas and low tides have left these creatures stranded on Seaside Beach. Turns out they're normally nestled in the sand, but rough conditions can dislodge and uproot them. Now here's a look at your weather.
Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Chris McGinnis in for Rod Hill again today. We are in the first of 2 KGW weather impact alert days for increasing rain and wind. Saturday's system will likely be stronger with a wind gust than Friday's, but Friday's, our afternoon commute is going to be a slog, I think, and I'll walk you through that with Futurecast in just a second. And the other element to this is eventually some pretty heavy cascade snow, especially late Saturday night through early Monday morning, and we'll talk more about that in a minute as well. I'm tracking essentially 3 distinct weather features. The atmospheric river, the fire hose, if you will, is pointed to the Pacific Northwest this morning, so this is the leading edge of that. Just now washing ashore. It's been raining at the beach. It's now raining across parts of the Portland metro area already, and that rain will continue to pick up in intensity here as we roll through the day today. So that's the first piece of this. The second piece out here over the North Pacific, and the third piece will develop off of that piece on Sunday. So 1, 2, 3 in a row with periods of rain and wind and mountain snow. How much rain are we looking at? Models have been pretty consistent, 1.5 to 2.5 inches of rain for Friday, Saturday, Sunday cumulatively for the I-5 corridor and the Willamette Valley. Don't get too fixated on the exact number, the exact city. These will vary a little bit, but this gives you a general idea. Obviously more than that, maybe 50%, 80% more at the coast. And in the higher terrain, that will translate to snow with winter weather advisories. I'll show you those in just a second. All right, in terms of today, the gustiest winds are likely to be east slopes of the Cascades through the Columbia Basin and across portions of eastern Oregon as well. Wind advisory there until 11 p.m. Friday for gusty south winds. We will feel that south wind here in the metro area as well. Storm system number 2, depending on how close and how deep that low pressure gets, has prompted high wind warnings along the Oregon coast for Saturday. So this is for Tillamook and for Tillamook, Lincoln, Lane counties and points south from 8 a.m. until 11 p.m. on Saturday. We'll also feel some of that wind in the Willamette Valley. The first system coming through today, a gusty south breeze on the order of about 30 miles an hour with some of the peak gusts and maybe 40 to 45 at the coast. So breezy, but not, overly windy. Overnight tonight, we get a lull, and then storm system number 2 gets cranking tomorrow. And look at this. Winds gusting 55 to 60 along the Oregon coast, and maybe some 40-plus mile-an-hour wind gusts if things work out just right in the Willamette Valley. Trees that still have their leaves on them getting soaked with rain and then getting blown around with 30 to 40-mile-an-hour winds does prompt at least some concern for downed tree limbs and possible power outages. The last feature to this storm, of course, is the winter weather up in the Cascades. Winter weather advisory is in effect from 11 a.m. on Saturday through 5 a.m. on Sunday. Now, the snow level may bounce around a little bit on Saturday, but eventually Saturday night and Sunday is when it finally settles down around 3,500 to 4,000 feet. So that means Cascade passes will turn wintry consistently on Sunday. Government Camp, Sandy Ann Pass will likely be snow covered for any travel on Sunday. The breeze already picking up out of the south. You can see the top of the Umpqua Bank building there from our Wells Fargo sky camera. 56 at PDX. The plan for today has us right near 60, increasing rain and wind today. Same story tomorrow with rain and periods of gusty winds, and the shower threat lingers into Sunday with very cool temperatures to wrap up the weekend.
There are lots of Halloween events all over the area this weekend, and we have several indoor activities to choose from since it's shaping up to be a pretty rainy one. First up, Powell's Books is hosting an after-hours Halloween party Saturday from 6 until 9. You can explore darkened stacks, which will be haunted by flash mob dancers, tarot card readers, a magician, and more. Local vendors will have plenty of food and drinks to choose from as well. There's also a costume contest and mystery book bundles for you to buy. Tickets were starting to get low at last check, so you'll want to get them online soon if you're interested. The Vancouver Mall is hosting a whole week of family-friendly Halloween activities starting this Saturday. From 1 to 3, you can check out a Wicked-themed stage show along with a costume contest and a hula hoop performance. Sunday will bring trunk or treating from 4 to 7. You can check out the mall's website for the full list of activities that stretches through Halloween. Fans of Michael Jackson's Thriller will want to see the Thrill the World performance on Saturday. Zombie dancers will take over the basketball court at Northeast Portland's Irving Park to perform at 3 p.m. The tradition started as a Guinness World Record-breaking performance with dances held all around the world. And finally, all this week, Portland is hosting York Fest. It's a celebration of the city's first Black ancestor. There will be events this Friday and Saturday at the Research Center for the Arts and will include the world premiere of York the Explorer, which is a folk opera. Go to yorkfest.com for a full list of events. And for more weekend inspiration, you can check out the 8 Things to Do article up each week at kgw.com. And that's a wrap on your weekly recap. I'm Christine Pitawanich. Remember, you can catch up on the latest headlines anytime on kgw.com, your KGW app, or our YouTube channel.